Seared salmon, caramelized veg, a stunning hollandaise made with Meyer lemon supremes. Want to learn how to make this? Easy, simple techniques. This is the stuff you got to know how to do if you want to say you're a cook. Stick around, I'm going to show you how. Okay, this is one of those things that everyone who cooks should know how to do. You should know how to make a really nice hollandaise sauce, or in this case, a hollandaise sauce that I enrich with a few little béarnaise ingredients. It's sort of a hybridized version. But the real secret to my hollandaise, my béarnaise, is that I actually make a curd out of a wine reduction and egg yolks, and emulsify them together and then beat in cold butter. That way it never separates. You can season it to your heart's content. It holds longer. Find a nice 120-ish, 130-ish degree part of the kitchen, which shouldn't be too hard when you're entertaining. And it's just a perfect technique for emulsified butter sauce making. The second thing that everyone should know how to do, you should know how to sear a piece of fish. It's healthy, it's delicious, it's fantastic for you, your family. We all need to eat one more meal from the water every single week. Think about that. Try that. One of the big barriers to people eating more seafood is price. So nowadays, one of the things that you can take advantage of is exquisite fish, wild or farmed, that's been frozen so quickly at such a cold temperature that you can't tell the difference between fresh and frozen. And while there are lots of different species of salmon, one of the ones that is reliably the least expensive in your markets is this stunning sockeye. Sockeyes, the biggest runs are in Bristol Bay, Alaska. This is wild Alaskan sockeye. It was caught during the summertime. It was frozen, and it's just absolutely beautiful. It still has gorgeous luminescence in the skin, and it was half the price of the supermarket crappy farm salmon that I saw. I'm not gonna tell you what brand, but boy, was it gross. Or some of the other things that were in a conventional grocery store that I bought this from. I did not get this from a fancy food shop. And instead of paying $36 for Ora King, right? A stunning farmed salmon from down under. By the way, something that if I'm going to cure salmon or entertaining, I might consider, I can do wonders with this sockeye. Now, sockeye is very firm. It doesn't have as much fat as other species, so I don't like to overcook it. A lot of people think it's just good for grilling or for smoking. I love it smoked. Grilling, I actually don't like it. I mean, you don't get sooty flare-ups because it's not fatty. It grills nicely. It just, most people overcook it when you put it on the grill. So if you can remove it soon enough, by all means, go ahead and try grilling it. I'm going to portion this. I love crispy salmon skin. So I'm gonna get a hard sear on the show side, then I'm gonna flip it over and crisp the skin, and I'm gonna serve this with that wonderful tarragon and shallot infused hollandaise and a little bit of veg. I'm gonna show you how to do all of this in just a second. Okay, I have a small pot here. I'm gonna add a few tablespoons of minced shallots. I'm gonna add a few tablespoons of minced tarragon, and I actually have used the bottom of the bunch of tarragon, so I'm taking advantage of all the stem pieces in there. You know, I'm straining this sauce before I finish it, so it's a really, really, really great place to use all those stems that have great flavor, and I can use a lot of the leaves for other things. And then I have a really nice bottle of white wine. I get all my wines from Verve, V-E-R-V-E. They deliver, they have 4 or 5 stores across America, but I love their zeitgeist. I love the wines they have. I research online. You know, I don't drink, so you know, there's always someone I can talk to and recommend great wines that are on sale there in the white and red category that I can cook with, but I can also serve to my guests. And this is just a stunning Italian white wine. I'm gonna add, I don't know, it's about 1.5 cups. I'm gonna stick some peppercorns in there, just a few, and I'm going to reduce this till it's almost dry. I only want about 4 or 5 tablespoons of it, into which I'm going to then beat my egg yolks and then my lemon juice and butter, and we'll have sauce. Okay, so I just remove this little triangular piece at the nose. I take this sort of more fibrous piece from the tail, and I should show you what I'm going to do with them. I just take the meat off the skin like so with both of these, and I will save them for tomorrow morning. I am a big fan. I do not like American breakfast. I'm in the sense that, I love eggs, so I guess that's a lie. But I'm not like a sweet person. I don't like French toast and pancakes and all the rest of that kind of thing. And I happen to be a big fan of Japanese breakfast. So I love having a little tiny piece of fish, maybe brush it with a little soy and sugar, some vegetable. That's kind of how I eat for breakfast, if I'm eating breakfast. And I want to, have a 4 or 5 ounce piece of fish. So I'm just going to portion this to a couple of nice pieces. And I've got my 3 portions that are all roughly the same weight. And that is a really important consideration. They're not the same size because the filet is not the same size as you move down through it. But those are going to be absolutely gorgeous when we sear them. High heat, minute or 2 on each side, let them rest, they'll be perfect. Now I just want to show you my wine and shallot and tarragon mixture is moving along swimmingly. It's reduced by about 15-20%. I like to go slow with this when I have a small amount of liquid to reduce, because I don't want to, walk the dog and come home and it's all evaporated, right? So I'm doing everything else in the kitchen, getting my veg ready and stuff like that while this reduces. And it is just reeking of tarragon and shallot. Just so beautiful. And when this gets down to a 1/4 cup, maybe a little less, I'm going to strain it into a bowl, add my egg yolks, and then we'll get going with our butter. All right, I have 3 egg yolks in here. And as you can see, this is reduced quite a lot to those promised handful of tablespoons. And I'm just going to pour this into here, and I'm going to whisk this together and temper those egg yolks. Not hot enough to cook them, but I'm just going to put the solids in here. They're hot. And I'm going to press down on them with my rubber spatula and, get another teaspoon or so out of there. And there is my egg mixture. I'm going to throw those scraps away. I'm going to use this pot. I'm going to put 1 inch of water in there. I'm going to make a little double boiler, and I'm going to cook these egg yolks. As you can see, I have some water in this little pot, starting to give off some steam. I'm going to set this egg yolk and wine reduction mixture into this pot, and I'm just going to stir it. And I want you to notice that this is the consistency, it's a little thicker than water. And when we're done here, it is going to be the consistency of custard. Then we will beat in our butter, season it with lemon, and we will be off to the races. Now, one of the things that I do with my fingers is I'm always touching the sides of this bowl, so I know when it's getting too hot. You can just cool it by pulling the bowl with the egg mixture away from the water. Moving it instantly stops it from cooking. This is going to happen pretty quickly. I mean, we've got a very light simmer underneath there. But when it happens, we're going to beat in our butter almost instantaneously. You see how I'm lifting this bowl off the pot higher? Because I can feel the side of the bowl getting hot. Just tilting this down to get it thicker, and you can probably see those egg yolks have changed consistency dramatically. And so, let's get that out of there. I'm going to mix in a little bit of butter. Turn the heat completely off so I just have that hot water underneath, no bubbles, just a little bit of steam. And that's enough heat to melt my butter. And for reduction of the amount that I made, I'm usually 3 egg yolks and 3/4 or so of a stick of butter, maybe a whole stick of butter. What really determines that is how much lemon I want to put in. And I'll show you that in just a second. But I think you can see how creamy and delicious and sort of perfect that hollandaise sauce is. Remember, it's hot, right? We've got that water underneath it. It's not going to break because our egg yolks are already cooked. We made that first emulsification with the reduction, now another emulsification with the butter. And then this is the juice and pulp of a Meyer lemon. I love having the pieces of that Meyer lemon in there. It's usually 1 lemon like that to that stick. And I'm going to season this with some salt. Some people like to put a pinch of cayenne pepper, and that's definitely what I like for a proper hollandaise. But it's completely up to you. Yum. Absolutely perfect. We'll let that sauce rest on the side. I have my pan ready to go. This is a carbon steel pan. I love it. It carries a lot of heat. A little bit of butter. I've got some endive. You can use any vegetables that you like. And I'm just waiting for this pan to get hot enough that I know my fish won't stick. I'm not worried about the endive. The endive isn't going to stick at all. I'm just going to caramelize that on the sides here. But I am going to take this piece of fish and kind of like a canary in the coal mine, drag it across. Hey, not bad. This is a very well-seasoned pan. I have some steamed Brussels sprouts. I'm just going to caramelize those a little bit. And we're doing everything in one pan. Super, super easy. I love my little mini spatulas. Never cooked endive before. It's fantastic. I just put a little caramelization on my Brussels sprouts. I'm just gonna let that salmon skin char. I can still see that it's a little rare in the middle, but I'm just gonna kill the heat and let the thermal momentum carry that through. Look at that nice crispy skin. I just removed the endive when it was ready, put it on the plates. I removed the Brussels sprouts when they were ready, put them on the plates. Put the salmon on there. Everything is nice and hot. But look at this. I made this dinner for you in real time. And that hollandaise sauce is still perfect because it's sitting on top of that hot water. I'm just gonna add a little bit of cayenne. And this is not controversial, it's just unusual here in this country, which is a few drops, and I mean drops, of sherry wine vinegar. A chef in Spain, his hollandaise had a little bit of sherry wine vinegar, and I mean, I don't even think I put a quarter teaspoon in, just drops. Basically is a seasoning, and it was to die for. The other ingredients in there just really, really shone so beautifully with that little acidic extra. And so all I want to do, take a few tablespoons of that hollandaise, those pieces of lemon in it. So you're gonna bite down on punchy pieces. And you know, with something even a weeknight dinner, why not make it nice, right? You shouldn't wait for company to come over. You can make beautiful food for your family. So a little herb, whatever you happen to have lying around, is going to be absolutely perfect. And there you have it. I did this in real time in half an hour, including all the prep. This is as good for a weeknight as it is for a weekend, but it's two important techniques that you should know how to do. Well, a couple: searing veg, making this lovely sauce, searing a piece of fish. Well, it looks beautiful, but most importantly, how does it taste? You know, when you don't overcook your fish, when you just let it rest, it is so glorious. And a sockeye eats as lovely as a king salmon, that is. The real treat here is that the mildly bitter flavors of the Brussels sprouts and the endive go so well with the sweetness of the fish and the creamy, buttery, lemony goodness of that sauce. Technique, technique, technique. Nail it. You will be glad that you did. It is the gift that keeps on giving.